Hello guys, so today we're actually going to go over solving for quadratic equations. Okay, and actually today we're going to be using the quadratic formula to do it. Now we're going to have a whole bunch of problems. This one's going to be, well, like I said, we're not actually looking for the factors. What we're looking for the solutions. So if you were to graph this equations, they look something like this. So this is my that's my quadratic equation, and then we're gonna have my x-axis right there, and what we're looking for the point in which they are intersecting. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for the factors, we're actually looking for the solutions here. And the way that we're gonna do this, we're gonna be using this little formula that we have here, so make sure you remember that one. And we're gonna be using the a, the b, and the c, just like we usually do, just to plug it in and figure it out. So this type of problem is actually really easy. The only thing that it is kind of tedious just to go and solve for all the things, like doing the addition, the subtraction, and so on and so forth. I'm looking for my calculator because I might need one. So whenever I do the square root of something, let me go and get it. There we go, I am back. Need some lighting here. I'm back. So, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and start solving for all of these ones. Let's start with number one. We're gonna go ahead and use the formula. So if you remember the formula, which is this one right here on the side, we're gonna start with b. So we starting with this little guy. So it's gonna be negative b. So we're gonna do negative parentheses, and my b in this case is negative 5. Okay, and then you always gonna do plus and minus. So whenever you actually have a quadratic, as you can see on the drawing over here, usually you have two different answers. Okay, are you always gonna have two answers? Absolutely not. Sometimes you're gonna have only one, sometimes you're gonna have 0. So, but it's just a consensus that usually you have two answers. So let's go ahead and start writing the stuff on the inside. The inside is gonna be b squared, right? B again is negative 5. And then minus, and this is part of the formula, the 4 is part of the formula, and then we do AC. Now A is going to be whatever's in the front, in this case it's a 1, and C is going to be this one right here, which is negative 14. Once you go ahead and fill all the top, you're going to do 2 parentheses A, in this case, again 1. So all you have to do at this point is start simplifying the whole thing. So let's go ahead and start with that. So I'm gonna start with the outside right here. So two negatives make a positive, so it's plus and minus 5. And now negative 5 times negative 5 is gonna be 25. And here is where you might need a calculator. So what is negative 4 times negative? Well, negative 4 times 1 is negative 14, because you're always gonna multiply those three numbers. You always multiply them together. So it's negative 4 times negative 14. Two negatives make a positive, so that's plus 56 over 2. Okay. Now that one's gonna simplify because we have to simplify inside the square root. So plus 25, 81. So I'm gonna have 5 plus and minus square root of 81 over 2. Now, lucky for us in this problem, the square root of 81 is pretty easy. It's a perfect square, so I know it's going to be turning into a 9. So it's going to be 5 plus and minus over 2. And that's my answer, technically. But let's go ahead and actually solve for each x of the two I'm going to be getting. So the first one is going to be x, right? Is equal to, well, what am I even doing? Let me erase it. So I'm gonna have to solve for an equation here. So technically they're all equal to 0, and we just kind of have to figure out which one it is. So this one's gonna be 5 plus 9 divided by 2. And the other one's gonna be 5 minus 9 divided by 2. And both of them are gonna be an x. So 5 plus 9 is 14, divided by 2 is 7. So x is equal to 7. And then the other x, so that's negative 4. Divided by 2, that's a negative 2. And that is my answer for the first set. All right, pretty easy, okay? That is it. So the quadratic formula necessarily is not too difficult. You literally just have to plug everything in and kind of just simplify as you go through. Let's go ahead and do number 2 now. So we have it over here. Same thing, we're going to start with the parentheses on the outside. So negative parentheses, and we have a -4 in this case. And then your plus and minus, square root, and here is whenever we have parentheses again, squared, and -4, -4, 1 is, or A is 1, C is 4, there we go, that's it. And on the bottom we have 2 parentheses 1. Let's go ahead and simplify. 2 negatives make a positive, so that's +4 on the outside. Now this is going to be the square root of 16. Now 4 times 4 is 16 again, so plus, or actually, I like this one too, because it's going to be -16. Okay. And over 2. So what's going to happen over here with those two? Well, you can probably guess it's going to be coming to 0. So I'm going to have 4 plus or minus square root of 0, which over 2. If you know, the square root of 0 is 0. So it's 4 plus or minus 0 over 2. Now, this is what I was talking about, one solution. Now, the 0, whenever you add it or minus to the 4, it's not going to change it at all. So basically we have 4 over 2 is the same as x is equal to 2. That's my answer for the second one. All right, pretty easy, right? All I'm going to do, that's basically it. Now just make sure you copy all the other prompts I'm going to be doing here. And thank you guys for watching.